Every year, millions of Americans celebrate Easter with egg hunts, ham dinners, and low-key rituals to avoid summoning ghosts or cursing their crops. You thought this holiday was wholesome? Please. Grab your chocolate bunny and hold it tight. We're cracking open the strangest Easter myths that'll make you wonder if Grandma's traditions were just spiritual side quests. 1. According to a bizarre Easter myth, if your freshly baked bread cracks while cooling on Easter Sunday, it means someone close to you is lying. Apparently, even baked goods have a built-in polygraph feature now. Some folks take it a step further with what they call bread readings, like fortune-telling, but carb-loaded and way more passive-aggressive. It's like tarot for grandmas who bake and hold grudges. And if your sourdough starts splitting down the middle, maybe it's not the humidity. Maybe it's your cousin hiding a secret credit card. 2. In early colonial America, some Puritan settlers viewed Easter as nothing more than pagan fluff, a frilly, unnecessary holiday drenched in suspicious rituals. While their neighbors dyed eggs, hunted chocolate, and threw low-key ragers with lamb roast, these Puritans were busy judging in silence, likely while knitting something beige. Their refusal to celebrate led to quiet tension, especially when someone brought a decorated egg to a potluck. Whispered insults like idol-worshipping egg lover weren't uncommon. Though, let's be real, they were probably just mad they didn't get marshmallow chicks. 3. One curious superstition claims that painting an Easter egg with your non-dominant hand reveals your truest self. Supposedly, this uncoordinated creativity bypasses your ego and taps into your soul. That's why some folks go out of their way to use their left hand or even their toes to achieve spiritual clarity. The results? Usually a wonky mess that looks like Picasso's toddler phase. But hey, who needs beauty when you've got authenticity, right? Just don't hang it on the fridge unless you want visitors to think you're emotionally unstable or 5 years old. 4. In some New England communities, people believed hiding a silver coin in an Easter egg would bring wealth and prosperity to whoever found it. Sounds innocent, until kids started smashing eggs like little IRS agents. Many a chipped tooth and disappointed dentist came out of this prosperity ritual. Eventually, some families replaced coins with notes or tokens, but the thrill of cracking open a boiled egg and maybe finding money, or enamel shrapnel, never quite faded. The real lesson? Never underestimate what a child will do for $5. 5. There's a superstition floating around that wearing red on Easter attracts conflict in the weeks to come, because nothing says he is risen like a side of passive-aggressive tension. Some families banned red entirely from Easter attire, claiming it stirs the pot spiritually, or maybe just socially. So if you show up in crimson and get death stares from Aunt Linda, don't take it personally. It's not that you look bad, it's that you apparently summoned drama with your outfit. Better luck next year with beige. 6. In parts of the American South, seeing a snake on Easter is thought to be a message from the spirit world. That message? Apparently, Grandma's watching. This superstition has terrified generations of kids who thought every slithering reptile was a ghost with attitude. Parents would lean into it, saying things like, "Be good, Nana's serpent might show up." Honestly, ghostly surveillance is one thing, but venomous messengers? That's a hard pass. If the dead really want to communicate, maybe try a card next time, not a rattlesnake. 7. According to one odd belief, if you trip on Easter morning, it means the devil is trying to steal your joy. So yes, stubbing your toe on a kitchen chair isn't clumsiness, it's spiritual warfare. The appropriate response? Get up, glare at the ceiling, and declare, "Not today, Satan," preferably before coffee. Some folks take it even further by praying over their shoelaces or avoiding stairs entirely. Meanwhile, brunch still needs to happen. Even spiritual sabotage shouldn't get between a person and their cinnamon rolls. 8. A quirky small-town superstition says that if you get hiccups while unwrapping Easter candy, each one signals a twist in your destiny. Some families even turned it into a mini fortune-telling ritual. 3 hiccups? Love triangle? 5? Car trouble. While most kids just want their chocolate bunny, some adults treat hiccups like a mysterious Morse code from the universe. The real question is, what happens if you hiccup nonstop? Are you cursed with chaos or just allergic to jelly beans? 9. There's a sweet, and slightly unsettling. Superstition that if a bee lands on your Easter flower arrangement, someone's thinking of you with love. But if it stings you, that love just turned into a grudge match. Some say the sting transfers the energy, but realistically, it just ruins your Sunday and requires ice. Florists in certain areas used to add sugar water to flowers to attract bees for blessings, turning Easter brunch into a mild wildlife encounter. Nothing says spring like passive-aggressive pollination. 10. In a few mountain towns, there's an Easter church superstition that if you laugh during service, you'll wake the spirits. Cue a full congregation trying to hold it together when someone's toddler sneezes directly into a hymn. For some, the fear of spiritual disturbance was so strong, it turned sermons into high-stakes comedy trials. You could feel the tension, like everyone was one snort laugh away from summoning ghostly side-eyes, which, in fairness, might still be less judgmental than that one church lady in the third pew. 11. In a peculiar twist on old harvest superstitions, some rural American families had a tradition of sprinkling sea salt on their doorsteps at dawn on Easter Sunday. But this wasn't just to keep away ants or nosy neighbors. It was believed to guard the home from evil spirits and misfortune for the entire year. The salt, often gathered from the sea and blessed during a hush-hush midnight ritual, was said to purify the threshold like some kind of culinary force field. If your grandma suddenly turned your porch into a pretzel-making station, it wasn't because she dropped the seasoning. It was spiritual security with a salty crunch. 12. One lesser-known superstition says that leaving a dyed egg on your windowsill overnight can reveal your future, based on how the color shifts by morning. Supposedly, if the egg darkens, trouble's ahead. If it brightens, good fortune awaits. Problem is, what you usually wake up to is a sweaty, oddly blotchy egg that looks like it partied too hard. Still, some believers treat these eggs of destiny with the same reverence others reserve for horoscopes or psychic readings. Cracked shell? Emotional trauma incoming. Moldy patch? Definitely an ex reaching out. 13. Among old-school Quaker communities, laughter on Easter morning was a no-go. Seriously, giggling, snickering, or even smiling too much was seen as disrespectful to the solemnity of the resurrection. Joy, they taught, should follow reflection, not interrupt it. So imagine being 6, dressed like a Victorian marshmallow, watching your cousin trip over an Easter bonnet, and being told that laughing makes you spiritually impure. That's not religion. That's a test of comedic restraint. And you better believe someone still cracked up and blamed it on divine possession. 14. Some small-town traditions insist that if you don't finish your Easter basket before sundown, you'll carry emotional, unfinished business into the rest of the year. That's right. Those leftover marshmallow chicks aren't just a sugar crash waiting to happen. They're spiritual clutter. Families took this seriously, turning post-lunch candy time into a speed-eating championship with metaphysical stakes. Why are you stress-eating 12 peanut butter eggs? Because if I don't, I might never finish therapy. Now that's Easter anxiety done right. 15. According to Ozark folklore, if your shadow falls across someone else's Easter egg before they pick it up, your sins get transferred to them. Suddenly, that friendly neighborhood egg hunt becomes a stealth mission in a psychological thriller. Kids tiptoe between bushes like tiny ninjas, avoiding rogue shadows like they're haunted lasers. You stepped in my light, bro. Yeah? Well, now you're stuck with my bad math grades and that lie I told about the dog. Theologically sketchy? Yes. Hilariously petty? Also yes. Also. 16. In the 1800s, it was believed that washing your face with Easter morning dew would make you more attractive for the year. Some women even collected dew in jars, storing them like magical potions to dab on later. Basically, early American beauty influencers. If you saw your neighbor rubbing their cheeks against wet grass before sunrise, don't worry, they weren't losing it. They were investing in that rustic, all-natural skincare. Sure, you could buy a serum for $80, or you could just go face first into a lawn and call it divine exfoliation. 17. There's a myth that humming while dyeing Easter eggs boosts creativity and fertility. That combo raises questions. But still, in some homes, you'd walk in and hear a whole family humming around bowls of vinegar and food coloring, like they were summoning a mystical muse, or trying to awaken the Easter Bunny's third eye. Whether it worked or not is debatable. But one thing's certain. It made for a very confusing soundtrack when all you were expecting was pastel eggs and not a fertility-themed barbershop quartet. 18. Some believe that if you can balance an egg on its end exactly at noon on Easter Sunday, it'll grant you balance in life. Seems poetic, until you've spent 20 minutes hunched over the counter, whispering threats at an egg. Most folks just end up with a mess and a mild existential crisis. Why can't I center myself? Maybe because you're trusting enlightenment to poultry. Still, if you pull it off, you're either spiritually aligned or very good at ignoring gravity. Either way, applause is warranted. 19. Folklore in parts of the South says that wearing yellow on Easter invites blessings and protects against envy. One particularly intense aunt took this so seriously, she made the entire family wear matching banana-toned outfits every year to keep the haters out. Easter lunch looked like a gospel-themed SpongeBob convention, but no one dared question it. Was it effective? Who knows? But the photo albums are absolute gold. Literally. If fashion were a shield, this was full armor dipped in sunshine. 20. There's a rather macabre but oddly comforting belief that if you die on Easter Sunday, you skip Judgment Day entirely and head straight to heaven. It's like the TSA pre-check of the afterlife. While obviously not something most people aim for, it's been whispered at funerals as a sort of spiritual VIP upgrade. Well, at least they picked the best day to go. Bit dark, sure, but also peak efficiency. You may rise, but someone's getting express checked into paradise. 21. There's an old Easter belief in some families that seeing a lamb first thing in the morning brings you wealth for the year. Naturally, this led to a generation of kids waking up and sprinting to find any lamb imagery, plush toys, cartoons, or even aggressively Googled pictures, just to lock in that fleece-funded future. Who needs Bitcoin when you've got a pixelated lamb from a coloring book? Some families even printed photos and taped them to the ceiling so it'd be the first thing they saw. Desperate? Maybe. But if you're trying to outsmart the universe, a little pre-planned sheep trickery is fair game. 22. In certain Midwestern households, cracking an egg before Easter church service is considered a bad omen. We're talking full-on yolk superstition. Parents would practically guard the fridge like it held ancient relics, refusing to serve eggs until the last hymn was sung. So while the kids sat at the breakfast table gnawing on toast in sadness, the eggs chilled in holy limbo. It wasn't about food, it was about divine timing. And if someone accidentally dropped one early? Immediate panic, followed by an emergency prayer session and maybe a backup offering of cereal. 23. Some small-town traditions hold that spotting a butterfly on Easter Sunday means your prayers have been heard. No butterfly? Time to reevaluate your spiritual Wi-Fi connection. Folks would plant extra flowers the week before Easter to boost their odds, like baiting heaven with daffodils. And you can bet that when someone finally saw a fluttering monarch, they acted like they'd won the divine lottery. Meanwhile, everyone else scanned the skies, wondering if maybe their prayers were too vague or if butterflies just had the day off. 24. The myth of the sun dancing on Easter is a gentle, poetic belief that the sun itself rejoices during resurrection morning. Some Americans still wake up early to watch the sunrise, hoping to catch it bouncing in celebration. Of course, staring at the sun long enough usually just results in eye floaters and regret. But hey, if you're sleep-deprived and hopeful enough, that weird blur might just look like joy. Or retinal damage. Either way, it's tradition, and it's oddly beautiful. 25. There's a belief that if you eat your Easter candy in total silence, your secret wishes will float straight to heaven, unnoticed and undisturbed. So, picture a kid locked in monk-like discipline, silently munching jelly beans like each chew is a whispered prayer. Break the silence, and the wish is voided, like divine noise cancellation. It turns chocolate bunnies into spiritual messengers. Honestly, if it means I get both sugar and miracles, I'll keep my mouth shut and let the marshmallow magic work. 26. In a charming twist on participation trophies, some families claim that the child who finds the fewest eggs has the purest heart, which is a nice way of saying, congrats, you're spiritually gifted, and also very bad at looking under bushes. It's a wholesome spin to avoid tears, and it usually works until the overly competitive cousin starts accusing everyone of hiding eggs from them on purpose. Whether it's divine reward or just sugar-coated pity, it's the most polite way to celebrate a total L. 27. A few families follow a tradition where one dyed Easter egg is saved and displayed all year long as a symbol of unity. If it stays intact, blessings for the whole household. But if it cracks or, God forbid, rots, well, better light a candle and hope for the best. Some folks even encase the egg in resin or wax to lock in the luck, while others roll the dice and leave it raw. It's decorative optimism with just a hint of salmonella. 28. Some believe that sneezing 3 times in a row on Easter morning means love is on the horizon by summer. Suddenly, allergy season turns into Cupid's workshop. Sniffles get interpreted like horoscopes, and that sneeze fit in front of your crush? Destiny in motion, or just too much pollen? Either way, it's one of the rare cases where seasonal misery doubles as romantic prophecy. Kleenex. Now sponsored by fate. 29. In rural Kentucky, a strange myth suggests that eggs laid on Easter have supernatural fertility. Farmers would hoard them like golden tickets, saving them for breeding only the best hens or carrying them around as lucky charms. One guy reportedly brought the same egg to every poker game for 5 years. Did it work? Well, judging by how often he lost, the egg might have been better suited for breakfast than blackjack. Turns out, spiritual poultry is not a reliable financial strategy. 30. There's an unsettling belief that if a dog howls on Easter morning, it's a sign of bad news coming. Historically, people took this seriously, like bacon bribing, chew toy distracting seriously. You'd find entire households doing whisper campaigns to keep the family hound silent at sunrise, as if one misplaced a woo might summon disaster. And if the dog did let out a howl, time to panic. Clean the house and call grandma just in case. Because when Fido speaks on Easter, apparently, even angels listen. 31. There's a spooky little belief that if your Easter candle suddenly blows out on its own, a spirit is nearby, and not the kind that wants to bless your brunch. This led some families to create makeshift windshields around the candle using anything from books to grandma's favorite casserole dish. Forget ambiance. This was Ghost Prevention 101. You haven't lived until you've watched a grown adult build a holy fortress around a tea light. And if that flame so much as flickers, cue the side eyes, nervous prayers, and someone yelling, "Close the window," or the portal. 32. According to a lesser-known superstition, making your bed on Easter Sunday invites bad luck into the home. That's right. Leaving your sheets in a tangled mess was considered a sacred act of protection. In some households, this belief was taken so seriously that even if guests were coming over, the beds stayed gloriously unmade. It wasn't laziness. It was spiritual discipline with a side of duvet chaos. So if your room looks like a laundry grenade went off, don't apologize. Just say, "I'm honoring ancient Easter wisdom." 33. Ever been told not to bite the ears off a chocolate bunny first? Well, apparently, it's bad luck. The correct order is head, then body, with tail last for good vibes. Start with the ears, and you risk chocolate-fueled misfortune. Start with the tail, and you're either a rebel or a lunatic, depending on the household. It's basically edible etiquette with spiritual consequences. And let's be honest, if the Easter Bunny is judging your bite sequence, we've all failed this test years ago. 34. And then there's the mythical standard of Easter perfection. If you get through the whole day without dropping food, cracking an egg, spilling juice, or complaining about literally anything, you've achieved Easter enlightenment. A state so rare, it's basically the spiritual equivalent of catching Bigfoot holding a Cadbury egg. But let's be real. Easter without chaos is like brunch without mimosas, suspicious, and likely a sign of the apocalypse. Embrace the mess. It's tradition. 35. In some belief circles, it's said that whatever you dream on the night before Easter will come true within the year. This turns Easter Eve into a high-stakes dreamscape. Suddenly, that bizarre dream where you marry a waffle or discover you're best friends with a talking llama isn't just nonsense. It's prophecy. People have gone to bed with crystals, essential oils, or motivational playlists hoping to manifest the perfect life vision. And others just hoped they wouldn't dream about clowns again. 36. Southern folklore strikes again with a darker turn. If you hear thunder on Easter Sunday, it means someone important will die within the year. It's a grim forecast wrapped in holy packaging. Back in the day, church services would pause mid-sermon while everyone sat in anxious silence, counting claps like they were on a spiritual storm watch. Forget hallelujah. All you could hear was a nervous whisper. Did that one sound closer? Nothing like meteorology to ruin your spiritual high. 37. There's a strange superstition that if your shadow disappears during an Easter egg hunt, say from a passing cloud, it means someone is hiding a secret from you. Theologically vague, but delightfully gossipy. Suddenly, kids became shadow ninjas, jumping into the sun and side-eyeing each other. My shadow vanished when I reached for the green egg. What are you hiding, Kevin? The egg hunt turned into an episode of Easter Detective Unit, Secrets in the Shrubbery. 38. If an egg rolls off the table on Easter morning, folk wisdom says it signals a visitor is on the way. But if the egg cracks, that visitor's bringing drama. One cracked yolk, and Aunt Carol's surprise arrival suddenly has ominous undertones. Families used to watch breakfast eggs like they were reading tea leaves. Every wobble, every roll was a potential fortune. It was like watching a cooking show with emotional stakes. Mom, the egg broke. Hide the good wine. 39. A quieter tradition suggests that no one should speak before eating their first bite of Easter breakfast, or they'll have loose lips for the rest of the year. Basically, if you break the silence, prepare to overshare till next Easter. Enforcing this today, though, nearly impossible. One whiff of pancakes, and someone's already asking if the eggs are free range and why the coffee tastes emotionally distant. But hey, if you do manage to eat in silence, maybe you'll finally stop texting your ex. Maybe. 40. Wearing new clothes on Easter has long been seen as a ticket to good luck for the rest of the year. In the 1800s, people would scrimp and save just to afford a fresh outfit for the holiday, because walking into church in last year's threads was basically begging for misfortune. It was fashion meets superstition, with a dash of social pressure. And if you didn't get something new, folks feared the bad vibes would cling to you like a polyester shirt in July. So yes, that Easter drip had spiritual significance. Your luck depended on that pastel blazer. 41. According to a whimsical bit of Easter folklore, if you make a wish while the church bells ring on Easter morning, and you're holding an egg, it will come true. Not just any egg, mind you. It has to be an Easter egg, preferably decorated, and ideally not cracked, though the universe apparently has a soft spot for glitter. So, if you catch someone in church, mid-hymn, gripping an egg like it contains divine Wi-Fi, they're not losing it, they're just multitasking. Praise and manifestation, all in one festive package. 42. In rural Georgia, kids were once warned that stepping on eggshells after Easter would wake the devil, which turned post-egg hunt cleanup into a covert military op. Imagine a backyard full of kids tiptoeing like egg-themed ninjas, whispering, "Don't crunch, don't crunch," as if Satan himself was hiding under the picnic table. And if someone accidentally stomped a shell, immediate panic. One kid swears the wind shifted, another says their dog barked twice. Superstition or not, it was the most intense cleanup you've ever seen. 43. Down in parts of Texas, people believe that placing a silver spoon in your Easter basket would bring good financial luck, because clearly, the fastest route to a thriving 401k is spoon-based superstition. Some folks even started using heirloom silverware, because if you're going to bribe the universe for wealth, you might as well go full antique. So while you're digging for jelly beans, you might find grandma's fancy soup spoon tucked in for divine profit. Investing? Too complicated. This is cutlery-based capitalism at its finest. 44. In several Native American Christian blended communities, Easter sunrise isn't just about the resurrection. It's a moment to welcome ancestral spirits as well. These ceremonies are quiet, sacred, and beautifully reflective, often involving smoke, songs, and silent reverence. Imagine standing barefoot in the dewy grass as the sky slowly burns from blue to gold, while the living and the dead are honored together. It's spiritual synergy with zero commercial fluff, and for once, no plastic grass in sight. 45. There's a rural belief, especially among older farming communities, that eating meat before noon on Easter will curse your crops. No bacon, no ham, and definitely no pre-brunch burgers. It was meatless mornings or agricultural ruin. Some families took it so seriously that they banned meat from the house until the church bell rang noon. Somewhere out there, a cow got an extra 4 hours of peace every Easter. And honestly, that's the real resurrection story. 46. According to an Appalachian myth, if you eat an Easter egg touched by a crow, you'll dream of your future spouse. Sounds like a romantic fairy tale. Until you realize your fate rests in the claws of a bird, known for eating roadkill and stealing shiny trash. Still, some folks claimed vivid dreams, wedding visions, or at least a clear sign of what not to look for. So if you find a suspicious feather near your basket, take a bite. But maybe check your surroundings first. Love might be watching from a tree. 47. Another Appalachian gem insists that eating Easter eggs cleanses you from sins committed the week before. Each egg, apparently, is a little edible redemption token. 1 for cussing at traffic, 2 for gossiping, 3 for that regrettable comment at the potluck. It turned breakfast into a form of crunchy confession. If someone loaded up on 6 deviled eggs before 10 a.m., you knew they had a week. No judgment, just holy cholesterol. 48. In parts of the American Northeast, it's believed that if the church bells ring out of rhythm on Easter, it's not just a musical mistake. It's a message from a long-lost relative. Supposedly, the uneven chimes are a kind of ghostly telegram urging reconciliation or closure. Some families even paused mid-celebration to interpret the bell patterns like Morse code from beyond. That one sounded offbeat. Maybe it's Uncle Harold reminding us to stop fighting over the lawnmower. Or maybe the bell ringer just skipped rehearsal. 49. Appalachian folklore says that if a child born near Easter cries constantly, they might be spirit-touched. Some believed these babies were destined for healing powers or second sight. Others just wanted them to please stop screaming during dinner. While mystical expectations are a lot to place on a newborn, it definitely beats colicky. If your baby's wailing non-stop, don't panic. They might just be spiritually gifted, or practicing for their future career as a banshee-powered chiropractor. So, next Easter, are you dressing in yellow, dodging eggshells, and whispering wishes to chocolate bunnies? Or are you still pretending this holiday is just about brunch? Either way, if you've made it this far, you're officially weird enough to hang with us. Hit that subscribe button, drop the strangest Easter tradition your family has, we dare you. And remember, every myth starts with someone saying, "Wait, what if?"